Welcome to AskReddit channel. What terrifying confession has someone told you while drunk? I heard my mom tell her friend I was a mistake and the reason her and my dad divorced. That's why you don't eavesdrop. After my mom died, I was going through her email. We never had a good relationship pretty much ever. Anyways, I went in her Gmail and just did a search for my name. Found a part where she told my Aunt Hoyt she didn't like me and wishes I would just go away. It wasn't the least bit surprising, and I've said the same thing about her, but it still stung a bit. The thing we always fought about was her drinking. She was a chronic abusive alcoholic.
As just a stranger, this made me hurt for you. I hope you have moved on and are not only okay but thriving.
My sister's boyfriend at the time told me he thought he might have fallen for the wrong sister. Doesn't compare to most of these, but my sister is my best friend, and I was so scared he might ruin that.
Sounds like that shit was already ruined.
Neither of us ever mentioned it to her, but yeah, they broke up not long after for other trust issues, namely, he was stealing from her. Not a great dude. My sister and I are fine, closer than ever.
Once at a college party, this big guy got upset, picked up the table and threw it across the room, shouting my uncle molested me. Everyone was terrified, but we all felt really bad for the guy.
Fingers crossed somebody there helped him into therapy. That statement'll stop a party dead in its tracks, and honestly, for his sake, it's good that it did.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking when he started to break down and cry after realizing what had just happened. Needless to say, the party was over.
Immediately dismissed the thrown table after I read the uncle part. Hope the guy is doing amazing now.
He had us in the first half, not gonna lie, guy who got hit by table.
At least in this one he's confessing to being a victim, not a perpetrator. That's much easier to react to as a bystander. You just have to be supportive.
Dude. I hope that guy is good. Like, man, he has known that for years and he finally managed to get it out. Bet he felt relieved but quite upset at the actions caused by his uncle. Live life right, guys.
Probably saw someone that looked had dressed up like the uncle across the room.
An entire fleet of regret is about to unleash on this one. Get that dude on therapy, pronto.
After a work party, the wife of a colleague and me ended up being the last two people standing. We were both fairly drunk when she started telling me about how she was raped by a priest when she was a kid. The church covered it all up, and the bastard never faced any charges.
Most awkward coworker encounter ever later. Hey Sam, so, did you run into that traffic on 94?
The priest was 94 years old, emotional breakdown.
Oof. Here's to hoping her parents believed her. Friend had a similar experience and her mom and dad couldn't reconcile that this man they'd known as pious and God-fearing for so many years could do something like that. Fucking sucks, man.
Nothing sucks more than telling the absolute truth to people who should believe you and them saying you're lying. Especially when you're a kid. If my ex were still in love with me, I wouldn't be married to you.
Oh my god.
I still think about it. I don't think I'll ever forget it. It keeps me up at night sometimes.
I hope that was the last thing they said to you.
Two ways to read that. One is a hypothetical scenario where they would have just never entered a relationship because they were still with their ex. Another is saying I would leave you for my ex.
Regardless, it's a terrible thing to say to someone you are married to.
Heartbreaking to hear.
I worked in a hospital and an alcoholic guy I knew from around my town came in. Of course he was very drunk, so he got a bed. He was homeless at this point. Just as he was starting to settle, he screamed. I slit his fucking throat. So I went up to him and asked him to settle, and he started telling me that he did it while in the army and could never forgive himself for it. Cried himself to sleep and died in the local park a few months later.
Just goes to show how little our country supports veterans who gave up their mental health to defend it.
Yes. The thing that gets me is how homeless veterans is so common. How dare our country care so little about the people who fight for our country that they let them become homeless and go without proper therapy.
It was me who did the confessing. When I was 18, I was sexually assaulted on a bridge in the middle of the night when I was all alone. My mom works in hearing, and she had always told me to bite someone if I got into trouble. So I did. I bit into his neck until my teeth met again. He fell down, then I ran all the way home. A few weeks later, I read in the news that a serial assaulter had gone to the hospital with neck wounds and later died. They'd drawn it down to him attacking someone and them acting in self-defense. I never told anyone until I got really drunk with my boyfriend last year and spilled it. He couldn't believe I'd kept that secret.
Absolutely self-defense on your part. And that guy never assaulted anyone else again.
You are a double hero.
Your mom gives solid advice.